Hey boys, if I said to you, you have two choices. You can be successful or you can be unsuccessful. Which one would you choose? Duh, Dad, successful, right? So, of course you would. I want to tell you about something that divides two kinds of people. Successful people and unsuccessful people are divided by goals. A tiny, tiny, tiny percent of all people set goals, not many at all. They're the successful ones. Most people don't, so most people aren't that successful. Success can be this or that. Maybe it's money, or maybe it's an accomplishment of some kind, like I want to be an Olympic skater, or I want to complete auto mechanic school, or I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to play music in a 10,000 seat arena by this date next year, or maybe I want to save $1,000 in the bank or $100,000 in the bank. The first thing and the most important thing you have to do is decide what your goals are. You can have a lot of goals, but you have to start with one goal and decide that is what you're going to do. The next most important thing for your goal is to write it down. Not just on anything and not just typed into your phone notes. You have to write it clearly on a clean piece of paper. And number 3, place that piece of paper next to your bed where you will see it just before you go to sleep and right when you wake up. This does a couple of things. It makes your goal not just a thought anymore, but it's out in the real world now. It's a real thing you see with your eyes and you can hold, and not just in your imagination anymore. The second thing it does is not only remind you of your goal, but when you see your goal before you go to sleep, it automatically sets your subconscious mind for your goal. I'll talk about the subconscious mind more another time, but for now, seeing that goal regularly every morning and night will program your subconscious mind, so even when you're not thinking about it, your mind is deciding for you how to reach your goal without you even knowing it. And every night your mind is working on the next day, reaching for your goals while you sleep. When you wake and see it on the piece of paper, it affirms and reminds your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So in a nutshell, your brain will work for you if you tell it to by writing your goal, seeing it at night and morning. And I didn't invent this. It's one of the basic building blocks of self-development. So, for a real-world example, we can look at it like this. I want to be a photographer. So, I decide to be and write my goal on a piece of paper. I want to be a photographer. That's really not going to cut the mustard because that's too vague to be a goal. Your goals have to be really specific as possible. So if my goal is to be a photographer, I might have to break that down a little bit. Now, to become a photographer, I have to know my stuff. I have to know my equipment. I have to use the best light, how to set my shutter speeds, and so on. So what would make more sense to make a goal that says, I will find a photography class somewhere in my county, find out when and where the class is, sign up for the course, and complete the course starting right now. That's not a bad goal at all. You're saying exactly what you're going to do and when. The last ingredient is you have to ask yourself why. Why is the biggest and most powerful question you ever ask yourself. If you can't answer why, then you're barking up the wrong tree. So to find and complete a photography class, why? Well, so I can become a better photographer, a professional photographer, and further myself towards what I really want, to be a great photographer. So there's a good goal. You can ask yourself why and give a good answer, which means you're headed in the right direction. So, number 1, decide what your goal is. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, place it near your bed in plain sight. Number 4, last but not least, ask yourself why you chose this goal. If you can answer that question, you know you have a good goal. Remember, a sad thing isn't that you shoot too high and miss your goal. A sad thing is that you shoot too low and hit. So get busy.